comment, rate, or subscribe. Just read the description below and then watch the video if you feel it's worthwhile. 2016, the band Crystal Castles released a song called Fleece. It became a sort of music video in 2017 sometime. Obviously, there was a period of time creating it. And it was a partially open beta test Unity Engine VR game experience that was released and was available at some places, but volume.cc is the only place that anyone mentions it being available as a PC/desktop download, available for around a month until the statement by Alice Glass October 24th or thereabouts concerning the band's main founding member. That's the main problem here. The volume.cc website is one of many that unfortunately sabotages any attempt to archive anything or retrieve anything. So the only archive that can be found from volume.cc is people, apparently right after Alice's statement, trying to find the VR experience to download again, because it's a self-contained file. It could be downloaded, dumped on your computer hard drive, and used. There was an augmented reality version that required a camera and screen or a VR pass-through set, which wasn't really commonly available, maybe. So it was mostly a cell phone, iOS type thing. The VR version would put you in the environment where the music video-ish thing was played. But the only archive is Halloween of 2017, approximately, at 6 a.m. almost exactly. And volume.cc, again, is a website that sabotages any attempt to archive anything. And when you use all the tricks I know to get archive.org to show you all files on the website, you get the robots.txt file, which tells it to go to hell. That's what robots.txt is useful for. The main page, which is almost invariably blank, and again, I have to complain about archive.org, whether they're doing a fundraiser drive or not, cramming every single result from their website full of code about archive.org and not the damn page. We need an archiver that gives us a raw copy of the page if we request it, because this is making it massively difficult to do internet archaeology and find lost media. If the website owner had simply not been antagonistic to archiving, if lawyers didn't exist, essentially, and if Disney didn't exist, enforcing copyright rules that make it technically impossible to archive anything. Everything has an expiration date on it that you don't know about. Everything is subject to being destroyed. I'll rant more later, but anyway, the point is that the website itself, that one website, is the only place that was indicated as having it. 2022, November 16th, a redditor named smartfrigde posted most of the above information and some of the other links I have below. I've also added to it. There's a couple of playlists. In order to use this thing on a cell phone, it would have all sorts of digital rights management bullshit installed in it. And it used Unity Game Engine. But PCs are notorious for saying go to hell on any kind of digital rights management. So the file would have been, I mean, if anybody was being intelligent on that end, they would have simply put out the Unity Game Engine version of this VR experience for PC and for heads-up displays, and just dumped it with no restrictions. Now, this was listed as, we only have the one Redditor's information, as a partially open beta test. Unity Game Engine, VR kind of thing. Now, if you're not aware of how this works, I'll go into detail about it, because I do actually know something about this. What appears to be happening in it and that sort of thing. But describing it quickly, you're in a virtual reality experience. You see a grid, crystal castles, tessellated across an infinitely tall set of walls. You're in a virtual environment, and you walk over to an old-style TV set and click the play or whatever, and then you turn around, and right behind you is the current lead singer for the band. The older one being Alice Glass is not in there because of all sorts of things you can look up on her page. That's a bunch of stuff where there has nothing to do with retrieving this lost media. And Ethan, the guy who ran the band for the most part, is not relevant and should never be treated as relevant in my opinion, but let's move on. The VR work is the result of the lead singer, Ethan, and the rest of the people, and the people who created it in Unity. And when you see in the screen is the lead singer almost exclusively, and then the music starts playing, and it's a motion capture image done probably with several dozen cameras to get a three-dimensional image of her as best as possible, mapping her into an empty environment, and then the environment itself and her body show spikes supposedly corresponding with the sound waves in the music. Probably using a spectrum check for spike, and then applying them by running it over the surface as a displacement map or some other methodology like that over the VR-created, most likely animated mesh of her. Frame-by-frame meshing would have been probably done in an interpolation. But anyway, let's move on. You might still have a copy if you use the Crystal Castle's Fleece music video VR experience that was posted on or around September of 2017. I'm going to go into a rant about time and date stamps in a minute, but I'm also going to include people who did this and did, unfortunately, what I call the expected and terrible thing. But again, if you use this, you may still have it on your computer somewhere. It'll be just a Unity Engine file. I don't know the file name. If anybody knows the file name, put it below. If anybody knows any other website it might have been downloadable from, please list it below. The next thing is, if you can download it, you can keep it. If you can watch it, you can steal it. That's another expression. There is no real digital rights management or copy protection on the internet or on computers unless you let your computer be heavily restricted and heavily screwed with. I want to point out a set of videos recently done by people reacting to the fact that in certain video games, cheating is so prevalent that it's really, really a heavy problem, and people are doing a lot of copium dealing with it. But one of the things that was mentioned in one of those videos is, in order to install most of these hacks to hack a video game, the operating system has to have all the security turned off, because instead of just having a game have good value and be playable and cheaters being kicked banned by the server, what they do is they often put a bunch of utilities on your computer that essentially hijack it for the good of the people making the video game, and also for your own good. And that will keep you from having viruses in your computer. I'm not going to argue about that. Trusted Computer Platform ostensibly is for that. The other flip side of that, I'm going to bring up real quickly, is in your computer, there's software that makes it to where Microsoft Corporation can just shut it off. Okay. A, much more secure internet we have now. B, large corporation go burr. You may have noticed I don't use any of these things. I just make it to where the computer has a very hard time downloading any viruses. I've had a total of 2 infections in 20 years. Maybe 3 if you want to count it that way. Other than that, I use a machine where I have a separate hard drive to test viruses on purpose. Now, the reason I do that is because some company can decide to destroy media, and we don't have lost media. We have book burners. Addressing Crystal Castles and Ethan, the guy who is in the band, that's the name he goes under. Most people know him that way. It's actually a different name for him. He's accused of, and by several people, of doing some really terrible things. He has, and I'm going to say this, trust me on this, by listening to Alice Glass's music and seeing music videos with her in it, Ethan is not relevant to the music. Let's decide that. Let's decide that whoever he has with him is the one that's really creative, because that really seems to be true. So we have a music video that's kind of cool looking, and you can see several copies of some people looking at it. And we don't have the original file, which would allow us to do the thing that most of these people didn't do. The terrible thing people do when they get a hold of any kind of technology that would record an event or an occurrence. The rant will begin. I don't care if any of you really think you're important in life. 90% of the crap I look up on the internet to debunk anything from a conspiracy theory to a UFO video to the Earth being flat around or whatever, any lie on the internet isn't captured by mainstream media or corporations. It's captured by you. And I'm going to say this very clearly, and I'm going to say it to you in the most abusive way I can. If you have a camera, a good one, and it has a zoom function, glue the knobs so you can't use it anymore. I don't give a damn what you think. I don't care if you took a college course. Stop zooming in. Every one of these VRs that you can see could be fixed and made archival grade by someone simply doing the VR experience from a perspective, looking at what's being presented, and not moving the VR set. I don't care if you have to put your head in a vise, fucking do it. Stop tilting your head. I know that your head, the feedback loop we're seeing that makes most of us nauseous is perfectly fine for you because you have the feedback loop through your inner ears. But when you're recording something that may possibly be destroyed, as in literally everything you're exposed to that corporations have the ability to destroy, at least make one clean archivist, Fahrenheit 451-ish copy where you don't move. If it's on a cell phone, freaking don't move it. Clamp the damn thing in a vise. Stick it on a goddamn tripod. Set it down on a table and let it run. It isn't that hard. I could sit down, yes I could, if I had the money and time and the wherewithal, really just a better computer and nothing better to do, which is pretty much my life right now. I could reconstruct 90% of the content in it if I had a front, back, right, and left view. And preferably a couple of 45-degree angles to catch any of the other angles. It could be fed into a modern piece of software using a cell phone and turned into another 3D mesh model and build it. Heck, I could even finalize it to where at least the band, even Ethan, could have a copy of it that's clean again. It isn't currently that hard anymore because most of you are holding all that technology in your hand and you're constantly filming the goddamn camera with a screen that looks like this, where there's just... Everybody walking around with a supercomputer demonstrating Idiocracy, the movie. Zoom out. Stop shaking the camera. Stop doing that. There are literally almost 1 billion people on this planet potentially that have a camera that can record any event. And I guarantee you 90% of the video footage will be crap because someone won't set it down, make it to where it can't move, take your hand off of it, record the event to the exclusion of all else. And if someone somehow instinctively needs to come over and touch it, you take out a steel bar or a wooden stick and break their damn hand if necessary and make them stop. Do you know how many video recordings of the explosion? I forgot what country it was in. There was like a storage area that caught on fire and blew up. Actually, there's several instances like that. One in China. And literally no one thought to put cell phone on windowsill so that I, the human, can't ruin this. I don't care what you do today. I want all of you to go out, every one of you with a YouTube channel, go out and record something and not screw it up. Set the camera to where it records in the correct ratio. No, not vertical video. And record something. Compel yourself to do something that I swear would cause a lot of you to have your tongues explode and your heads explode and your eyes burn by just making a perfectly simple recording documentary. Just document it. No Dutch angles, no shaking the damn thing, no zooming in and out. Stop fiddling. Okay, that's my rant. I'm sorry about it, but virtually all the videos have someone... I know they're wearing a VR set and that's what it's for. But if you're noticing only 2 people uploaded it, you know how much all of us would love if you just sat there with a head-on view of the vocalist singing and acting and us getting it, and then seeing one from one side and then from behind and from the other side to where we'd have an almost perfect copy of everything. Yeah, it would be boring. Yeah, and highly valuable. Please learn to be a documentarian instead of a netizen. Fahrenheit 451, go look up the book. Okay, sorry, but this is only lost media because no one bothered doing a decent job saving it. It was at one time a file you could download and save and never lose. I'm sure it's somewhere on the net. I'm sure I'm just not finding any links, but I can't find any. If you have them, give them below. And again, just tell me where the hell it is and nothing else. I'm going to do a long rant. Delete it. Your ego, my ego, none of our egos are important. Preserving data so we don't have to have these freaking rabbit hole chases. Seriously. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. This has been yet another rant by Waptech. Bye.